Designing a microapp from Canva is a great first step into interactive content creation by adding just a few design elements into one of their many templates. In this video, we'll go over the basics of designing, importing, and assembling your tiled project from Canva. This project is one of Canva's presentation templates that you can start from, and I'm going to do three main things to prep this for tiled before I package up the design as a whole as a PDF. The first of which is on the cover page. We'll want to set a video background to bring it to life in tiled, and in order to do that, we'll need to add some transparency to the background image or the background layer. So all I'll need to do is select that background, go to the transparency, and I'll drop it down just a bit. The second is to add a menu and navigation. Now, this template already has a table of contents, which we'll be able to put hotspots or links over to jump around to different sections. However, for each page, we'll also put a hamburger menu icon in the corner. That way, one click each page takes you back to the main table of contents to jump into another section as needed. If you've already watched our video on creating from PowerPoint, instead of a hamburger menu icon, you could also opt to create a fixed bar navigation, like a website. That way you can jump to any page, regardless of where you are. Now, there are also sections in here that I want to prep for tiled, for example, the mission statement. As I go to our layers panel, there's actually a scrolling image that I'm going to bring into tiled separately that's hidden. And the reason for that is so that it's not baked into the image itself when I export it. So essentially what I'll do, and as we see, we're going to have it set up so that it scrolls in this white space. And in order to execute on that, what we'll do is group our layers together, the rectangle and the text. And then if you right click, you can download selection. So we'll go ahead and download as a PNG. If it had a transparent background, we could check that box, but we'll go ahead and download that. And now instead of deleting it or moving it to another page that would come over in the PDF export, you can simply adjust the transparency, almost hacking it, hiding it like another hidden layer. We'll do something similar on the Meet the Team page. We've got this set up with the plus button so that you can view a team member's bio. And so I'll go ahead and select my hidden layers, bring them all back. And then just like I did with our scrolling asset, we'll right click, download selection. Then I'll go ahead and reorder my layers and save our next team member bio. And once more for good measure. Then I'll hide these layers again. Lastly, on our page for budget, we're going to want to have a carousel. And so again, I have a few hidden layers here. So I right click and show my layers. And we're going to want them to rotate between images. So we've got one there, budget proposal 2, and budget proposal 3. Now each of these we will download as selections as well, and then we'll bring those into tiled as separate assets. Then I'll select all my layers and hide from the main page background. Now we're going to package this entire presentation up as a PDF, but before we do that, if you recall, I added some transparency into the cover page. PDFs don't do a great job with transparency, so I'm going to save our cover page separately. And that way I will do it as a PNG with a transparent background. And we'll select our current page. Now that we've saved that separately to layer on top in tiled, we'll go ahead and download the entire presentation as a PDF. Now in your tiled account, you can click the blue New Microapp button, and you can go ahead to convert a file and upload a PDF. Now, as your PDF comes into the tiled builder, you'll notice that we're breaking each page back down by pages to build upon. Each slide will also come in the right-hand corner as its own individual asset. One thing that's helpful as you get started is to rename your pages. That way, as we get into the hotspots, which is connecting all the pages together, you're not having to memorize page numbers. Now that the foundation of the presentation has been brought in as a PDF, we'll also go ahead and drag in any of the secondary assets that we saved separately as PNGs. You can also bring in any videos as MP4s or MOVs, and you'll see that those all come in the bottom right-hand corner as assets for you to use as well. Now, for our cover page, we're simply going to assemble our assets right over the top of this, with the background layer being our video. Drag it onto the canvas and take it full screen. Then in the Properties panel, you're also able to adjust fit versus fill, as well as settings for sound, autoplay, and loop to make it a motion graphic. Now over the top of our video, we'll drag on our image tile and take our cover image PNG that had the transparency built in and take that full screen as well. Just to make sure it's working okay, we'll go into the preview mode in the upper right-hand corner, and it's looking good so far. Now we can get started with our hotspots, which are our links between pages. So if we've designed a Get Started button on the home page, if anybody clicks in this area, we are going to link them to a given page. You can add hotspots one at a time, or you can also add multiple hotspots at once. Like for our table of contents, if we have links that are going to be evenly spaced, we can drag the hotspot over the whole space and add multiple links. Then you can copy your group of hotspots, arrange it down below, and now simply swap out the link targets. If there's a button that shows up on every page, like for example, our hamburger menu, once you set your link target, you can simply copy and paste it across every page in which it exists. Now for our scroll, we'll go ahead and drag the scroll tile onto the canvas, determine where it's set, and then since we saved our scrolling image asset separately, we'll go ahead and bring that in as we preview. For our Meet the Team page, I mentioned we're going to have clickable hotspots on each plus button to pull up a team bio card. Now, instead of adding a new page that's going to have the bio card, we're going to create an overlay in the bottom right-hand corner. Think of an overlay like a pop-up. Now I'll make sure that my hotspot is linking to the right overlay. And as I start to edit it, we have our overlay canvas set up. All that we need to do is drag our image on and scale it accordingly. By default, overlays will have a close button, which since we've already built one into our image, I'll go ahead and delete. And there's also opacity that is built in, or transparency that makes it feel like a pop-up window. As we preview, we'll see our pop-up effect. Then you'll also want to add a hotspot over your close button and make sure you're going back to the previous page. Now that we've done that successfully, since we have 2 more team members, we can simply duplicate our overlays, rename them, and then update the image asset just by dragging it over the top. I'll add in my additional hotspots. And make sure it's working. Team's looking great. Lastly, I'm going to go to our budget page, and we're going to set up our carousel. Like our scroll, we'll determine how much or how little of the page we want to take up, and then we can grab our budget images and drag them right in. Now from here, set it to fit. And if you need to reorder them, go ahead. And then you can determine if you want the images to rotate on their own and adjust the time, or have it be something that's manually swipeable. From here, we can go ahead and publish in the upper right-hand corner. By default, the cover image will be set to the first page of your microapp. However, if you want to create a custom image, we do have the dimensions here, which you could build out in Canva. From there, go ahead and publish, and you'll be ready to present or share. We hope this was a helpful video of creating a microapp from Canva, but if you have any questions, you can reach out to support@tiled.co.